The old post office is a true Chicago landmark. We've all seen it, drove past it, drove underneath it, and I think the massive redevelopment has been extremely impressive.
The vision for the new space has always been about bringing people together. Because we've been such a fast-growing company, we've had to operate out of different offices in the loop. First and foremost, the most important thing was to bring those teams together under one roof.
The large floor plates at the post office allow them to do that.
One of the biggest learning curves was working with landmarks to determine what the final scope of the historic requirements were going to be.
It really sort of creates this opportunity for us to understand the history of the building, to sort of merge the old and new. I think our team looked at that as an opportunity to sort of be a pioneer for future tenants in the space.
Home Chef's space is unique in that it crosses over two separate buildings from the old post office. So the original north building, which was built in 1921, was the management and office space. This is a 12-foot high ceiling with a clay tile structure, and its historic guidelines were to maintain an office look. When you cross over to the south building, this building was constructed in 1932 and was a mail sorting facility. It has 20-foot high ceilings with a concrete structure, and its historic guidelines are to maintain the industrial look and feel with the exposed ceilings and floors.
IA, along with CBRE and BIG, as well as the client, we all kind of worked together to figure out what these guidelines were and to also figure out where we could kind of push the design a bit so it still adhered to the guidelines, but it also met with what Home Chef required and wanted.
We had a wall base that we had to replicate from the original post office spec. We had some wire mold that actually didn't exist on site, and we were pulling it off of an old drawing in order to recreate that. We have chair rail within the space, miles of wood trim within the space that we had to just recreate and make sure that every detail was perfect.
From the beginning, IA did a great job of trying to understand our culture as part of the design process. And at Home Chef, the core part of the culture is the experience of a home-cooked meal, and so a big part of that is obviously the home.
On the north side, where the building elements are supposed to be a little bit more traditional, we decided to conceptualize those spaces as more traditional spaces in the home, such as the den or the library. On the south side of the building, where we wanted a more industrial look, we decided to conceptualize spaces that felt a little less traditional. So in those areas, we have spaces like the urban garden or the workshop.
It's great to see how all of that hard work and time that was invested on the front end during the design and build process paid off. I would tell someone considering a similar project that it's really important to find the right partners. And what we found in big interior architects and CBRE were people that we could trust, and that really streamlined the decision-making process throughout the project.